So this is what we got today, buddy. Stephen A. and Tori Cooper on Joy Taylor allegations. I watched a little bit of it, and yeah, that's what made me decide to react to it. So let's get to it.
There's a lot that I have to get into today, and I'm definitely going to get into it, but we all know where we got to get started on this particular day. And that's getting started with the lawsuit, the recent lawsuit filed against Fox Sports, and several current and former personnel there, including my former colleague, the one and only Skip Bayless. The 42-page document filed by a woman named Nusheen Faraji, a former hairstylist for the company, cites several instances of workplace misconduct. The suit names several defendants, including Fox Sports Executive Vice President Charlie Dixon and host Joy Taylor. Faraji alleges Dixon grabbed her behind at a birthday party, and when she relayed the encounter with Joy Taylor, the Fox host allegedly told her to, quote, get over it. And that is where I feel compelled to begin today. There's been a lot of reaction to this story all over social media. Has it been about Charlie Dixon? Not that much. Has it even been about Skip Bayless? Not that much at all.
Not that much at all is so disingenuous. Like, come on, bro.
Has it been about Fox Sports overall? Really, not that much at all. It's all significantly paled in comparison to the level of vitriol, venom, insults, and beyond aimed at one Miss Joy Taylor. And that's why I want to bring on.
See, the thing about dudes in mainstream media, they have to put their cape on. If you go back and look at Steve Harvey arguing with Monique and him basically saying, like, he said something along the lines of, you got to play ball and kiss the white man's ass. Because if you don't play ball and kiss the white man's ass, like, you're going to be in, the position you in, Monique. So he basically said something along those lines. He didn't say that exactly, but it was some sellout type rhetoric. And when you look at people like Stephen A. Smith, he is in that type of position where when it comes to, certain people that aren't like Brett Favre and shit, black athletes, black male athletes, he gets all the free reign to do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants. He can disrespect them. Everything is cool. But when it comes to certain things, we talking about women in the workplace, he got to soft shoe it. He got to put that cape on and come to the rescue for the damsel in distress. I wanted to just say very shortly, like, oh, he wants some coochie, but this is what they do in the mainstream. They pander.
My next guest, I shouldn't call her a guest. She's a journalist. She's a former news anchor in Atlanta. She's a personal good friend of mine, and she's a damn good friend of the show over the last few days. And I'm talking about the one and only Tori Cooper. She's back here with yours truly right now. Tori, how are you? How's everything going?
I'm doing well. How are you, Steven?
Listen, I had to bring you back because I wanted to get your thoughts on what I just brought up about Joy Taylor. And as you've watched all of this unfold, I know you, like myself, we've read the 42-page, allegations, rife with allegations against Joy Taylor, against Charlie Dixon, against Skip Bayless. Specifically pertaining to Joy Taylor, I want to know what your thoughts are about all the heat that she's been taking over the last few days.
Why is such a focus on Joy Taylor? First of all, she's not being accused of sexual battery. She's not being accused of sexual harassment. She's being accused of engaging in sexual behavior to earn her spot that she has on Fox Sports. Now, the problem I have...
What she just tried to do, she tried to pull a fast one. What Joy Taylor is being accused of within that lawsuit is not just sleeping her way to the top, no. She's accused of other things that I'm not going to lie, we're not really discussing much, like brushing off the other chicks, sexual harassment concerns and stuff like that as far as her experience. She's also in there because she was making fun of the accuser's accent and stuff like that. So that was harassment on the job. But the most important accusation outside of sleeping with everybody is that she had a Me Too in the chamber. She was going to claim that she was sexually, sexually harassed and put in a quid pro quo position and stuff like that. And she was a victim. She had that in the chamber. Like once, Dennis the Menace, whatever the guy's name is, the executive, Charlie Dixon. Whenever he was done with her and he was going to try and get her out of there like fire or whatever, she was going to pull the Uno reverse. That is what she confided in, the accuser and told her. And the accuser put that in the lawsuit. So it's real cool to just say like, oh, just sleeping up the rank. No, 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 no. That is a very important key.
But this, Stephen, is this continues to be the issue in this industry is when a man gets there, in any industry really, when a man gets there, he earned it. When a woman gets there, she slept her way to the top somehow. And so that's issue number one. Issue number two is that we're just going to completely negate her experience and the fact that she is more than qualified to be in this role. And if you just read this lawsuit at face value, and this is my problem with these lawsuits, is people just take it as fact. These are allegations at the end of the day. And when you
And see, that's cool to say when it's a woman, but when it's a man, they're guilty. They're guilty. And I'm going to give you a perfect example that is extremely relevant in the sports world. Ray Rice allegedly at the time punched his girl. This is before the footage and everything leaked out. Stephen A. Smith tried to say the same things. These are just allegations. We cannot say that, boy, his mom got on him, the network got on him, his sisters got on him. He came back and apologized the next day for saying that these is allegations and that we should give him the benefit of the doubt. Now, granted, when the evidence did come out, he was guilty. But the point she's trying to make now is that there are just allegations and da-da-da-da-da. We're not going to see the Charlie Dixon Joy Taylor sex tape. That's never coming out. But when we talk about the same person that is giving you this opportunity, when he tried to say, these are just allegations, we can't really go based off this. He was torched. They put his feet to the fire. So ultimately, when we talk about these narratives of people, allegation, we're looking at a double standard when people want to give her the benefit of the doubt. And that is acceptable on these mainstream platforms.
look at this lawsuit and you comb through it at face value, they paint her as a bartender who had little experience, who was had experience in radio and was not qualified for Fox Sports, and she was working as a fill-in anchor and a bartender at the same time. I worked 2 jobs to get into this industry. I worked behind the scenes first.
She's starting to talk about herself now. Pay attention.
So we don't earn these spots lightly. And that's where I get really frustrated with people on social media who are trying to come for this woman's experience and credibility to be considered for this role. So let's just go back into the history really quick into her experience since we want to talk about it. She worked behind the scenes as an executive producer. That's someone who writes the shows for the people you see with the mic. 1. Then she worked her way into a slot to be a co-host on that show, on that radio show in Miami. Then on top of that, she took the show to number 1. And then after that, then she makes her way to California, is essentially doing what it appears to be freelancing, and is filling in and working to get that spot. And eventually she gets called on. Many people right now, Stephen A. would say, I'm not even qualified to sit next to you. But it's not always about experience. If it was about experience in this industry, then so many people wouldn't even have the spots they have. It's about a lot of other intangibles. But
I wonder if sleeping with your boss is one of those intangibles.
for this specific issue, this woman was more than qualified. She's been a credible Fox Sports commentator, and she's doing her job. So that's the big issue. Another issue on social.
See, let's just address that point very quickly that she made as far as that whole point. One thing I want to point out, remember I told you to pay attention. She said something along the lines of, we worked hard to get the positions that we got. Like her and Joy are the same person. See, what she's doing is she's personalizing it and saying, look, I worked my way to the top without doing anything. So, she had to work her way, and they're trying to say that she's not qualified and she's bigger than me. So I got to, and I relate to her and that's what it is. If you look at the chick on the screen, she fits the same profile as Joy Taylor minus the knockers. She got that, as Jason Whitlock said, peanut butter skin. She is very beautiful, just keeping it a bean. She got that long Hawaiian silky, that hair. And when you look at the profile, Joy fits the same profile. A beautiful woman in the sports industry as far as, journalism. Now, I've never seen this chick, so I'm not about to say, well, shit, she probably been, working her way up the ladder the same way. I'm not going to say that. But I will say the same thing that I say all the time, and I said it throughout this Joy Taylor stuff. I done said it in so many other places. Women are deceptive. They are chameleons. And the thing about them, and another thing about them is a lot of them are full of shit. They will tell you that they are celibate while another guy's inside them. I say that to say Joy Taylor was talking all this hard work shit and all of that. But this is the issue. She was fucking with an executive. She was fucking with an executive at the company. She wasn't messing with somebody that was on her level that couldn't get her any opportunity. She wasn't messing with the janitor. It was the executive, somebody that is one of the most powerful people in the whole company. So you want to have a conversation about her qualifications and if she qualified and people disqualifying her. That's not what the real conversation is. And that's not where the conversation is being had. Let's just pretend that she is the most qualified. That doesn't negate the allegations that she slept with the top guy and that got her leverage to get in the positions that she's in. But this woman overlooked that because of her bias, because she identifies with her. And that's what chicks do in a lot of cases when they go and defend all types of turbo thighs.
Social media I'm seeing that's very upsetting is that people are saying, you know, this is why women shouldn't be in sports. This is why we don't want women involved in this because we're going to be faced with these allegations and this is give us our world back. This is not your world. You're not going to claim the sports environment. And this is the problem that I have because at the end of the day, this is a form of entertainment that anyone can share, not anyone, but people can share their take on it. And people can be engaged in this topic. Lastly, this is the main issue I have with this. This is another woman who's of minority descent, who's also claiming that another woman who's a minority did this. So I know that the female sports anchors of the world right now are all cringing because they're like, wow, you just continue to feed right into this same narrative that we don't deserve to be up here at the desk with these men who live, breathe, and sleep this topic. So now it's always about us sleeping with people to get to the spot we're in. And then now another woman's going to feed right into that with these allegations. So
Think about how selfish and negligent what she just said is. She's blaming the person who was made fun of, who got her butt grabbed and tried to confide in Joy. Because you all about this sisterhood stuff and you talking this feminism, talking points and stuff like that. She was harassed at the workplace and tried to confide in Joy. Joy said, get over it. But on top of that, the allegation is that Joy actually slept with an executive. What if that allegation is true? You should have more of a problem with that than the person exposing the allegation. And this is what it is. Like I said, it's selfish. It's coming from a selfish place. You see, she mentioned other female broadcasters and making all of them cringe and stuff like that as far as this because all of them are honest and stuff like that and they're working their way to the top the legit way. And listen, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that the majority of them aren't using what they got to get what they want. But I'll tell you this. I guarantee you Joy isn't the only one if we're going to keep it a bean. And this is something that goes on all throughout corporate America. So it's not new. It's not a mystery. It's not extremely rare. But back to her being selfish, she is looking at this from her standpoint like this makes me look bad. This makes me look bad. So I have to go and defend this person who might have actually done this bad thing. And guess what? I'm also in the process going to attack the victim. The victim. How nasty is that? How nasty is that?
it doesn't help what we're up against as women in this industry to have allegations like this circulating around. But this also, she could file her own lawsuit. She could.
Yeah.
There's nothing has been proven. So that's where I'll leave it.
And here's the thing. People need to understand that's one of the reasons that you might not be hearing anything from her, nor Skip Bayless or anybody else, because they can turn around and sue. And they got their, I mean, think about the allegations that have been thrown out against them. Think about, the need that they may feel to retaliate. And as a result of that, I think that is even further requirement for people to be careful. But let me tell you why I wanted you on here, Tori, because I have to admit I'm pretty pissed off. Now there's a few people's names I'm not going to mention because damn it, they ain't worth it. Okay, and I get that. But there's a few men out there that are acting like this is the perfect excuse to justify why we make the argument that women don't belong in the industry, which is an incredibly egregious thing to say. Okay, they'll look at any woman sitting in a host chair, or any woman that's a reporter out there, or any woman that has to walk into the locker room, and all of a sudden their credibility is being questioned. My thing, what I'm more appalled at by, rather, even that, is the women all over social media that are allowing it to happen. And that's why I wanted you on the show today, because I said I'm not going to speak about it just from the male perspective. I'm going to have a female in front of me that I can bounce this off of to check me in case I'm wrong about this.
What did I tell you? Brown nosing and pandering.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't spend a lot of time looking all over social media, but I'm looking at an abundance of women, and I'm saying the allegations. I understand what the allegations are. The allegations of Joy Taylor slept with Charlie Dixon and Boss, and she did it while she was married. And well, first of all, the marriage part is her business; it's nobody else's. The Boss situation obviously is dicey. Make no mistake about it. You got a girl that was supposed to be a best friend that's supposedly diming her out right now. That's incredibly unfortunate. But one could easily argue it's really not about your guilt or innocence. It's about how guilty I make you look, forcing you to capitulate to the demands that I'm making civilly. We can get into that a little bit later. But what I find most egregious, Tori, is the abundance of women out there who are laughing, who are pointing the finger at Joy Taylor with a profound level of guilt as if they know. Even when they throw in the word allegedly, they do it with smirks on their face, sort of dismissive, because in this business, we know how to speak with our body language, not just with words. And not only that, they're using it as an excuse to question her credibility. Now, I don't know what happened. You don't know what happened. We don't know what level of truth or falsehood exists with the allegations that Nosheen Faraji has thrown in the direction of the executive at Fox Sports, Skip Bayless, Joy Taylor, or anybody else. But let me tell you what I do know. I know that I've seen Joy Taylor on TV a lot over the years, and I think she's pretty damn good. I think she's very capable.
Look, I don't got time for the brown nosing, and you don't either. So we're going to get to some of my points. Let's just talk about women in sports very quickly as far as sports journalism. I don't have much of a problem with it, but there is somewhat of a problem with it. I don't think the chicks are disqualified just because they are women. There are actually some chicks who don't know what the fuck they're talking about when they get the chance to talk about the shit. Now, before I get to that, I want to say the person that keeps coming to mind when I think of I don't have no problems with women doing sports broadcasting, Doris Burke. Doris Burke is one of those people in the NBA that is like a national treasure and all that shit. Even when it came to Rachel Nichols, I thought she did some good moderating on her show and stuff like that. And it's possible she slept to the top or something like that, because I know one thing for sure. Like, I'm pretty positive she was getting boned by at least a couple NBA players, at least a couple. Jimmy Butler, probably. But listen, we'll never know. And the thing about Jimmy Butler, at least he didn't work for ESPN. So with that being said, there are some chicks who are actually good on the screen. They know what they're talking about, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They could put a good show together. They deserve their spots, in my opinion, et cetera, et cetera. But just so I don't have to go too deep, there are men and women who are not qualified to be sports broadcasters, period, point blank. And when I say that, I mean that they're bad at their job. JJ Redick just criticized Charles Barkley and the boys over at TNT because they keep down talking the product and the NBA ratings are down. And we're not going to get deep into that because I know y'all don't come here for sports and stuff like that. But Kendrick Perkins sometimes is bad. Shannon Sharp shouldn't, like, I've seen him say some stuff about basketball. He really not educated enough on the sport to really be a good broadcaster. If you look at somebody like JJ Redick, when he was a sports anchor and stuff like that, he was very good because he is very knowledgeable about the game and the history. That also is what helps him be qualified to be an NBA coach in basket. And when it comes to basketball IQ, LeBron definitely knew he had a high basketball IQ. So, and he never played with JJ Redick, and JJ Redick was no star ever. So, for him to have that type of respect for JJ Redick, you know, his basketball mind has to be very good. But the other thing I want to say as far as women, when we look at guys, I can't think of a guy that was really problematic as far as just his position at, in ESPN or Fox. I can't think of a guy who is just like him on screen is just problematic. He may not know basketball. He may not know football. He may just be too energetic, but not problematic. This woman right here, Malika Andrews, has been an extreme problem for the past few years when it comes to sports. The Celtics coach, he got the job, after Buddy had that affair with one of the trainers or whatever and got fired for it, and they outed him. And she threw him under the bus as well. But she threw the new coach under the bus as well, talking about, some criminal past that he actually didn't get convicted for, if I'm correct, unnecessarily. So what she does, and no white guys do this, no white guys on TV do this as far as sports personalities. But she was actively attacking black men. Somebody that Draymond Green played with got shot and killed trying to defend a woman that wasn't even his. I'll give you the story very quickly. His girl, which this is something I should cover at some point, his girl called him to come and protect her friend, which was another girl, from her ex while she got the stuff out of the apartment. This is a basketball player. He probably like 6'7" and stuff like that. This chick that he is coming to, give security to is not his chick. It's his girl's friend. The guy that's the, boyfriend or whatever happens, they have an altercation, man. He shoots the dude dead, unfortunately. This chick gets on the air, and when she's talking about this dude, she starts to talk about his criminal record and all types of stuff. She is problematic. In all my years of watching sports stuff, I've never seen somebody problematic like her. But what she is a product of is what I personally call post-NFL breast cancer awareness sports. Because once they start having the guys put on the pink and they start having guys talk on these commercials, you like, it's for a good cause, and, why not? Why not? But a lot of things begin to get very feminine. You start having like, oh, the moms is watching, so we got to put the camera on Taylor Swift and a bunch of other stuff that I don't plan on getting into in this video. But even then, when you look at this, you got Buddy on the screen, brown nosing, doing his best to get that nose all inside that ass crack. Just trying to, bruh, he's dark skinned. He is trying to come out looking like a fudge round when he get that nose out of that ass. That's what he's trying to look like. And again, I don't necessarily have a problem with chicks in these spaces. We not even going to get in no WNBA talk or nothing like that. But when you start to cause these types of issues like the whole Joy Taylor stuff or the Malika Andrews situations, or if you remember when LeVar Ball went on Colin Cowherd, situations like that he had with that anchor, who just kept trying to be sassy and stuff like that, which to some extent, I'm not mad at it. But when you start doing the little white girl tactics, the white damsel in distress, let me get this black guy lynch tactics, like, are you threatening me? That's when it gets nasty. Or same guy, LeVar Ball, when he said, he said whatever he said, like, they said something like, let's switch gears. He said something like, we could switch gears whenever you want. Whatever it was, they tried to misinterpret it as something sexual. Well, one of the anchors on First Take, or, which is funny again because this is Stephen A. Smith's show, it was Molly. And Molly being there, Molly misinterpreting something, even the other guys misinterpreting something, led to LeVar Ball getting banned from ESPN. Now, I get it. Y'all gonna be like, as far as any women watch it, well, he should learn how to keep his mouth shut and he should watch his words. He didn't mean it like that. And even then, that wasn't worth banning him off the platform. But again, when you have women in these spaces, it changes the dynamic of the space. It changes the dynamic of the space. And we don't even got to get into the facts as far as, there are some chicks who like football and stuff like that. There are some chicks who like basketball and stuff like that. But the main sports consumers, men, they dominate sports consumption. What are we talking about? So when you let women in these spaces, it should, and I'm going to be honest, I don't care how it sounds, it should be understood that you are guests. You are guests. But when you start trying to run the show and change shit around and be a detriment to other people in the environment, like, that's when shit gets fucked up. And that's all I got to say about it, man. Let me know your thoughts. We're going.